Will the House come to order? Mr. Clerk?
Aloha and good afternoon. Today's invocation will be presented by Representative Amy A. Peruso. Will the members who wish to participate please rise?
Please remain seated. Aloha. Today I want to spend this time to invoke and honor the work of the Council on Interracial Unity. In 1939, as the threat of war loomed over Hawaii, a group of civic leaders led by Shigeo Yoshida, a progressive educator from Hilo, and Hong Wai-ching, director of the YMCA, formed this council to proactively organize the community in response to the growing anti-Japanese sentiment. They could feel hate and suspicion brewing, and they knew they had to be ready to offer an alternative. After Pearl Harbor, when Executive Order 9066 threatened 180,000 Japanese Americans in Hawaii with mass internment, the council sprang into action. Yoshida and Chang, young men in their 20s, were largely responsible for convincing first UH Regent Charles Hemingway and then General Emmons and the FBI's Robert Shivers to resist implementation of the order. This remarkable resistance to mass internment originated in the community with young people who trusted in their vision for Hawaii. Hemingway was impressed by both Yoshida and Chang as UH student debate champions and supported their development as facilitators, mediators, and leaders. In that work, they helped convince the FBI's Shivers and then General Emmons, in command under martial law, to adopt a radically different approach to the threat the Japanese community supposedly posed. Instead of operating through fear and suspicion, they would work first through trust and respect. Yoshida and Chang, along with the rest of the Council on Interracial Unity, were able to convince Shivers to use compassion, critical thinking, and open-mindedness to go through the list of people suspected of espionage, sabotage, and treason. Shivers and his staff, rather than presuming mass guilt by association and by virtue of identity, investigated the evidence for each and every case and relied on direct conversations with subjects rather than secondary sources or informants. And General Emmons just kept refusing to comply with FDR's orders, which were frequently and forcefully communicated. These men were in positions of significant power, but they allowed their work to be transformed by youth, by students, and by the very community that they were told were the enemy. It's worth mentioning that both Shivers and Emmons paid a heavy price for this decision to work with community to protect community. Shivers paying with his health and Emmons with his military career. But they did the right thing by acting on the basis of an understanding of shared humanity. And we still feel the consequences of their actions today. I'm inspired by the work of these young organizers of the Council on Interracial Unity to protect the most vulnerable in the face of terrible threat. I also know that many young people today are acting with similar integrity and bravery in times of uncertainty and fear. What we achieve in this building will be so much greater if we are wise enough to listen to them and to truly welcome community into this work. Mahalo.
Thank you, Representative Peruso. Item 1. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Ayu, Mr. Alcos, Ms. Amato, Ms. Bellotti, Mr. Chun, Ms. Cochran, Mr. Evslin, Mr. Ganadin, Mr. Garcia, Mr. Garrett, Mr. Gates, Mr. Hashem, Mr. Hashimoto, Mr. Holt, Ms. Hussey Burdick, Ms. Ichiyama, Ms. Kahaloa, Ms. Capella, Mr. Kila, Ms. Kitagawa,
Excuse.
Mr. Kobayashi, Mr. Kong, Ms. Lachika, Ms. Lamosao, Ms. Lowen, Ms. Martin, Ms. Martinez, Mr. Matayoshi, Ms. Matsumoto, Mr. Mizuno, Ms. Morikawa, Ms. Nakamura, Mr. Nakashima, Mr. Nishimoto, Mr. Onishi, Ms. Peruso, Mr. Pierick, Ms. Poe Poe, Mr. Quinlan, Mr. Saiki, Mr. Sayama, Ms. Souza, Mr. Takayama, Ms. Takenouchi, Mr. Tam, Mr. Tarnas, Mr. Todd, Mr. Ward, Mr. Woodson, Mr. Yamashita, Mr. Speaker.
Present.
Mr. Speaker, 50 members are present, one is excused.
Thank you. Item 2, reading of the journal. Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, may this matter be deferred.
So ordered. Item 3, Mr. Clerk, are there any messages from the governor?
Mr. Speaker, there are none.
Item 4, Mr. Clerk, are there any Senate communications?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, we're in receipt of communications transmitting the noted House bills, both having passed third reading in the Senate.
Members, are there any introductions? Representative Peruso.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to welcome a couple of folks to the chambers, to the gallery. First, my office manager, Tina Grandinetti, if you could please stand. And also my husband, John Mackey, I think he's still here. If you could also please rise and be recognized. And welcome to your House of Representatives.
Representative Matsumoto.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to introduce Andrew McLean. If you could please rise. He served 4 terms in the Maine House of Representatives, and he was a classmate of Representative Mizuno and myself with the CSG Toll Fellows. If we can give him a round of applause.
With no further introductions, we are moving on to item 5. Reports of standing committees. Representative Nakamura.
Mr. Speaker, I move to adopt Standing Committee reports numbers 1409 through 1458 as listed on pages 1 through 14, and that the accompanying Senate bills, as may be amended, pass second reading and be referred to their designated committees.
Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Any discussion on STANCOM report 1409? Next page, 1410, 1411, 1412, 1413, next page, 1414, 1415, 1416, 1417. Representative Pierick.
No, please.
So ordered. Next page, 1418, 1419, 1420, 1421. Next page, 1422, 1423. Representative Pierick.
No, please.
So ordered. 1424. Representative Poi Poi.
Ruling on a potential conflict.
State your conflict.
I work a couple hours a week for a nonprofit that happens to manage a fish pond, and I physically volunteer at fish ponds.
No conflict. Your work is outstanding, and ruling stands until sin die,
Thank you.
unless your circumstances changes. Moving to 1425. Next page, 1426. Representative Pierick.
No, please.
So ordered. 1427. Representative Pierick.
No, please.
So ordered. Representative Garcia.
Same request.
So ordered. 1428. Representative Pierick.
No, please.
So ordered. Next page. 1429. 1430. 1431. Next page. 1432. 1433. 1434. 1435. Representative Pierick.
At the appropriate time, can we go back to 1434?
Let's finish 1435. Let's move back to 1434. Representative Pierick.
And no, please.
So ordered. Proceed.
So this bill would be helping with full campaign public financing. Mitch McConnell, the prior U.S. Majority Leader, mentioned that with public financing of campaigns, this can sometimes inadvertently discriminate upon the minority of the party in that respective state. So he was from Kentucky, and if they had full campaign funding for Kentucky, he as a Republican would have been hard to get elected because let's say he had a ceiling cap for what he could spend by the taxpayers paying for his campaign. The unions and the news would still support the majority party or the Democrats. The same could be true for Hawaii. Now, the benefit of this bill is that it could be public financing the governor's race $3 million, and that would definitely help Duke Iona in his race. But at the same time, why should taxpayers be paying for campaign signs, campaign commercials, and things like that? So I'd be voting no.
Next page. 1436, 1437, 1438. Representative Perry,
No, please.
so ordered. 1439. Next page. 1440, 1441, 1442, 1443. Next page, 1444, Representative Perry,
No, please.
so ordered. 1445, 1446. Next page, 1447, 1448, 1449, 1450. Next page, 1451, 1452, Representative Perry,
No, please.
so ordered. 1453, Representative Perry,
No, please.
so ordered. 1454, next page. 1455, 1456, Representative Perry,
No, please.
so ordered. 1457, and last, 1458. Representative Perry,
No, please.
so ordered. Members, the chair will be calling a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion is carried. Members, are there any announcements? With no announcements, Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, I move that this House stand adjourned until 12 o'clock noon tomorrow.
Representative Garcia.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion is carried. The House stands adjourned until 12 noon tomorrow.